Hey everyone! Today, we're cracking open a playbook that's all about making the tech in your classroom a true game changer, not just another gadget. Let's get right into it. So, let me ask you this. Does this sound familiar? You get some amazing new tool, but when it comes down to it, it's just being used for the same old tasks, but, on a screen. It's a super common frustration when technology just digitizes what we've always done, instead of actually transforming how kids learn. Well, if you're nodding along, don't worry. It just means it's time to run a new play. So we're going to open up the Educator's Playbook and go through 10 best practices that are seriously going to shift how you think about and use tech in your classroom. Every great game plan has to start with a solid foundation, right? So these first few practices are all about establishing our why. This is the core philosophy that has to be locked in before you even think about turning on an app or a device. Okay, so practice number 1. This is the golden rule, the one you can't forget. Lead with the learning. What does that mean? It means we always start with the learning objective, the standard we want our students to master. The tech is never the goal, it's just the how, the vehicle we pick for the right task at the right time.
And here is such a great way to put this into practice immediately. Before you choose any tech for your next lesson, try filling in this blank. Forcing yourself to explain that because part, well, it's a really powerful gut check. If the tool doesn't give you a clear advantage over, say, a pencil and paper, you might not actually need it.
Okay, moving on to practice number 2, design for universal access. The big idea here, which comes from universal design for learning, is to use tech to get rid of barriers from the get-go, instead of trying to add fixes later. Think about tools like Microsoft's Immersive Reader. They let every single student customize their view, from text-to-speech to changing colors. It's built right in.
All right, so our foundation is set. Now we get to the really exciting part, the transformation. This section is all about using technology to completely redefine what we're asking students to do. We're talking about a major shift, from them just consuming information to them actively creating something totally new with it. This brings us straight to practice 3, which is aiming for what the SAMR model calls redefinition. Now, this isn't just about swapping a pen for a keyboard. No way. This is about designing tasks that would have been literally impossible without the tech we have today. And that right there is where the magic happens.
And here's exactly what that looks like in the real world. Instead of the same old biography report we've been assigning for 100 years, imagine your students scripting, acting out, and producing a green screen time travel interview with a historical figure. See that? That's the leap from just recalling facts to synthesis and creation. It's a whole different ballgame.
And when you make that leap to redefinition, you unlock the skills that our students need the most for their future. You know them, the 4 C's. And so, the next 4 practices in our playbook are all about how to intentionally design for creativity, communication, collaboration, and critical thinking.
So practice 4 is all about sparking that creativity. Instead of giving a multiple-choice quiz to check for understanding, what if you had students design a public service announcement poster or record a short video? This asks them to apply what they know in a creative way, and it turns them from passive consumers into active creators.
Practice 5 is all about communication. Technology can instantly tear down the classroom walls. When students have to present their work to a real, authentic audience, like, say, interviewing an actual expert over a video call, suddenly the stakes are higher and the learning feels so much more relevant.
And now for practice 6, building true collaboration. We have to move past that old model of group work, where kids basically just split up the work and do it alone. Cloud-based tools let them work together at the same time on the same thing. A great play here is to assign specific roles, like researcher or designer, within a single shared slide deck. It forces them to actually build it together.
And practice 7 is about making critical thinking visible. So often, all we ever see is the final answer or the finished essay. But what if we could see the process? Ask a student to record their screen while they solve a math problem and narrate their thoughts out loud. It gives you this incredible window into their brain, letting you see their logic and catch any mistakes right as they happen. Okay, we're on to our last section. We've set our why, we've redefined our what, and now we're going to focus on connection. This is all about using tech to enhance how we interact with our students through better support and feedback.
So let's talk about practice number 8, scaffolding with AI. This is a total game changer for differentiation. Instead of spending hours creating 3 different versions of a text, you can use AI as your teaching assistant. A tool like Gemini can instantly create leveled reading passages for you, giving every student the exact support they need to tackle grade-level content.
Practice 9 is all about speeding things up with real-time feedback loops. Technology can radically shrink this cycle. Think about it. Instead of a student waiting days to get a paper back with red ink, a teacher can leave a quick, 2-minute voice comment on a digital draft. The student hears it, makes the changes right away, and that whole learning process just accelerates.
And this really gets to the heart of why that speed is so important. At the end of the day, feedback that's given during the learning process is infinitely more effective than a grade that shows up on a report card long after the student has moved on.
And that brings us to our 10th and final practice, which kind of ties it all together: curating digital portfolios. Now, this isn't just the digital folder of old assignments. It's a space where students can showcase their best work and, more importantly, reflect on their growth. A simple little prompt like having them record a video answering, "How did my work get better from the first draft to the final?" makes thinking about their own learning a real part of the process.
So there you have it, 10 powerful plays right from the Educator's Playbook. Now, of course, comes the fun part, putting it into action and deciding on your next move.
So, just to recap the whole game plan, it's really a simple 3-part strategy. First, you build that solid foundation by always starting with your why. Second, you go for the transformation by redefining what your students are creating. And third, you deepen the connection by enhancing how you support them along the way.
And that brings us to the final and most important question. After hearing all this, what's the very first play that you're going to run to make the tech in your classroom truly transformative? Thanks so much for joining me today.